City before we recap the incredibly talented finalists in our Cyberpunk cosplay contest. We'll then wrap up today's episode with some news about Stadia. There is a lot to talk about, so let's get started.
In a huge open world like Night City, you need a chill ride to get around fast. And in Cyberpunk 2077, there are tons of cool vehicles to choose from.
Get this. 4-liter engine, 6-cylinder, goes from 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds. You fucking believe that?
We've crafted every car and motorbike with amazing attention to detail. On the chassis, the body, not to mention the interiors. You can expect every one not only to look unique, but to deliver a unique driving experience.
All right, show me what you got.
Don't expect advanced tech or luxurious materials here. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, it's not the size that counts, I guess.
This class is mostly utility vehicles and low-end clunkers made for every pocket.
Hold on. It's a wreck.
Uh-huh, my damn wreck.
Well, definitely no guy or girl magnet.
If you need to impress, look to this class alone.
I'm putting my ride on the line. Either you match it in cash, or you can forget about the fight.
With these wheels, no expense has been spared, no frill ignored. Their plush interiors decked out in all the latest tech, while you get to sit back and enjoy the ride. Masterful engineering and practical design. Trucks and tanks for when you need power and brute force.
Hell of a machine.
Neat beast. My pride and joy.
And these monsters are literally unstoppable. These are for chooms who love the smell of exhaust and the roar of street wildlife. Their powerful engines and exchangeable parts make them perfect for tuning.
Come on! I want to smell that choo-choo burn!
Whether it's street racing, running from the NCPD, or just showing off in the streets, with these high-powered beasts, you will have only respect.
Oh yeah, like that!
If you need speed and armor, the Hypercar class is for you. It means precise bodywork, built-in LiDAR arrays, and really expensive materials.
Imagine you're sitting on a pile of eddies. Probably less than 1,000 people in the world can afford the Erendite.
Not your typical urban vehicle.
They will take you places you never dreamed you'd go. Oh, and original vehicles are not all you'll find in 2077. We also found room on our roster for some true automotive icons.
Floor it, V.
Paul, thank you so much for joining us. I think it's fair to say we've come a really long way from Roach in The Witcher, so there's a lot to talk about.
Yep, there's a lot to talk about. What do you want to talk about?
Well, let's start with the various classes of different cars, because in the video we saw there were things like economy and luxury vehicles. But can you tell us a bit more about their kind of design philosophy? What does each kind of class offer when people are driving them around Night City?
Absolutely. Depending on the variation of the car that you're either buying or stealing, depending on your flavor, yeah, you'll notice that they don't just look different, but they'll also drive different and feel different. If you're buying or stealing a nice fancy looking sports color version of a car, you'll notice that it drives, faster, sounds a little bit more punchy and sporty than, for example, a junkier version of that same car. It can have solar panels tied to the roof or some other pipes that are hot wiring some other, cyberpunk components in your car. And well, if it looks cheap, it probably drives cheap too.
True.
So it seems that not only do the cars look good on the outside, but there's an awful lot of detail on the inside as well. Things like the dashboard. So can you tell us more about that? Because I know if you find a Quadra Type 66 in the city, it's going to look totally different from the Quadra Type 66 that the gangs are driving out in the Badlands, both outside and inside.
Yep, definitely. If you were about to steal a very nice high-end car, for example, when you get in, you'll see the dashboard light up nicely. You'll see your dial indicators revving a little bit. But that may not exist for a junk version at all. It may have the dashboard ripped out completely. No matter what your flavor is, you'll find something that suits your needs.
So what about racing then? Will there be racing? Because I know people have been asking.
Yes, we're absolutely going to have several races in the game. Different locations, if you know you're going to be driving in the Badlands. Maybe bring a Nomad car, because it's just built for driving in the Badlands. But if you know you're going to be racing in Night City, just bring the hottest wheels you've got, because you're going to need all the power you can get. No matter where you're racing though, you need to bring a gun, because this is Night City and you never know what's going to happen.
Okay, so you talk about bringing cars then. Let's talk about like storing and calling cars, because we know people can steal them. What if somebody's found a car and they absolutely love this particular one? Is there a way for players to kind of build that collection? And then how do they actually, summon them?
Well, summoning cars works pretty much the same as you would summon Roach in The Witcher 3. Your transportation may or may not show up on a roof somewhere, but we're still working on fixing some bugs here and there. But yeah, if there's a car that you really, really like very much, if you can't wait to own a Quadra or a Type 66, you'll get a message from your fixer and says, hey, I've got a Quadra for sale for you, you want to buy it? All you have to do is drive over, pay the money, and you've got your very own Quadra. Not to mention that every single vehicle that you buy, every single player vehicle, is absolutely unique in every way. It's got a unique interior, unique exterior, paint job. It'll sound different, but it'll also handle different.
So in the video, we did mention there was space for a true automotive icon. Do you want to reveal what that actually is?
Of course. The car in question here is Johnny Silverhand's car. And Johnny Silverhand is, well, he's a big rocker boy and he needs some wheels to match. So we gave him a 911 Porsche from 1977, which means in 2077, Johnny's car is going to be exactly 100 years old.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for your time today. Personally, I think I'm going to try and balance being a super cool badass mercenary and driving a Mai Mai, because I love that little car. I think I could do it, right? I could be cool and in a Mai Mai.
Definitely. Mai Mai is absolutely cool as long as you stay on the road and not on the sidewalk.
I'll try my very best. We'll see. In past episodes, we've said that music plays a huge part in bringing Night City to life, but it's not just music. Our teams went to incredible lengths to recreate and capture the sounds that really bring these vehicles to life. I mean, they might have had some fun driving them, but I'm pretty sure that's just a perk of the job.
We started with the visuals, and then we wanted to attach a proper sound to the visuals so that you have like a nice feeling or the nice vibe of the complete car. And then we moved on to organizing the whole thing. Early on, we made the decision that we are going to record on the racetracks, and then we are going to record cars in movement. We started cooperation with Tomek Choki, who is like very, very well-known racing driver in Poland. That's really a nice sensation when you're driving with a racing driver and then he pushes the car to the limits. Like you can feel the G's with the braking and tight cornering, and you can feel the car actually like bending the laws of physics. We wanted to record a broad spectrum of cars, so we started with the powerful muscle cars, and then we went to more screaming tuned V6s, inline 6s, and then we went to V10s. We wanted to grab the off-road cars. We of course grabbed some drift cars, just to have the more aggressive character in the cars. We had to assemble a sound group or a sound team that would make the placing of the mics process very, very fast, because we had plenty of cars to do in a short time span.
We had the team of mechanics from a rally team, and they helped us immensely. What they've done, they allowed us to put the microphones into places that we wouldn't be able to access differently. Putting a mic right into the car, they helped us to locate the places that are best.
Usually place 3 microphones in the engine bay, 3 microphones in the exhaust, and 2 microphones in the car. Cars are very, very complex in terms of sound, and it's very difficult to get all the necessary components that you have to make it sound believable.
But we were trying to look for something that would give us the character of the engine.
We wanted to use normal organic electric engine that you could actually have in the nowadays car.
We didn't want the engines to be futuristic sci-fi-ish sounding. We want them much more organic, much more down to earth, something that would represent the combustion engine. And on top of that, we added small elements like the futuristic horns or like a futuristic UI of a car. It makes you feel like you are in a car of the future, and some car might talk to you, other car might have blips and bobs that will make you feel like you're in a futuristic vehicle.
We wanted to be very, very close to what Mike set up in the lore, and early on we decided to record Johnny's original car, which is the Porsche 911 930 from 1977.
We recorded on dyno in control environment in a chamber. We could put Mike in very different places. Porsche 930 that we recorded is the only car really that will be really sounding like the real car in the real world.
We recorded more than 40 vehicles.
Not often do we record so many vehicles for a game that is not really a racing game.
Truth being told, this was the hardest part in my sound career, and I'm very, very proud of what we achieved with the sound team. This was something that we didn't do before, so creating the designs, creating the technology behind how the sound behaves, that's the best thing actually I ever did in my sound career.
There has been a lot of talk about cars so far, so let's take a look at another collaboration. This time with Johnny Silverhand. I mean Keanu Reeves.
Okay, let's see.
Smell.
Hey, Keanu, what's good, brother?
The travel.
Yeah. Sure. I knew Keanu was a big
journey.
Guy too.
Freedom.
No, you know, it's not like deeper.
I'm Gard Hollinger.
I'm Keanu Reeves.
And we're here as representatives of Arch Motorcycle, and we're doing some audio recording for Cyberpunk 2077. Arch Motorcycle is a custom production motorcycle company. Yeah. What's unique about it is that the motorcycles are built on a production platform, but each one is designed to be able to be personalized for each customer.
Can you know, guys, this, not loud enough?
When CD Projekt Red approached me about doing Cyberpunk 2077, they also spoke about integrating. They were fans of, or I guess people who worked at the company were fans of Arch Motorcycle, and so they broached the idea of creating kind of specialized Cyberpunk 2077 version of the Arch Motorcycle. And I thought that was a very fine idea.
We have a motorcycle we've designed and we've been developing called the Method 143, and so that I think in particular was a creative inspiration for the designer, so they sort of used that as a basis and then went further. So it has a totally different, crazy looking power plant.
We did a little customization.
It's good, I like it.
Today we're capturing sounds, getting some actual sounds of a power plant, drivetrain, and characteristics of the motorcycle, which I'm sure they will
have to turn it down.
You know, have play with and stuff, but the source will be pure.
Yeah. I'm trying to take down for a minute. A little bit too high. Coming in a little bit too high. Hello.
It has a
Welcome to my
sort of
channel. How you
racing engine in
doing?
it compared to our production motorcycles. It has a,
Sorry about that.
dual exhaust
Message
system,
earlier, boo-boo.
and it sounds pretty.
Sounds good.
I could definitely blindfolded tell that that's the Method 143-ish sounding motorcycle. Yeah.
Oh, look at that! Okay. Well, at least the driving's in third person.
Nature of the role-playing aspect of the game, I think it'll be cool, like, to be on a bike and hearing that, going through the city streets and getting into the madness and mayhem.
Madness and mayhem. All right.
As with all episodes of Night City Wire, if you're tuning in late or if you just want to watch anything again, we will be uploading everything to our channels soon.
Okay,
Now it's time to talk about styles in Night City. Are you more kitsch or neo-militarism?
How about both?
Welcome to the brief authoritative history of Night City.
Oh, okay.
This chapter is devoted to so-called styles, deeply linked with the history of the world, and a very important aspect of life in the city.
Let's go!
You can find them everywhere. In cars, clothes, guns, implants. They are your war paint.
Yo, shit tight.
As one of our sponsors says, it matters not if you're dead,
Yo, what the
as
hell?
long as you're doing it in style.
The moves on this girl. Swoosh, swoosh. Slicing them up like sashimi.
Okay,
Four visual styles are evident in the Night City of
Hello,
2077,
King. How you doing?
each with its own
Welcome.
history, status,
We're gonna
and
talk about it
features.
later.
Neon hair,
Me too,
illuminated
bro.
tattoos,
I like it. I
and
like
chrome.
it myself.
Function comes
How
second.
you doing, brother? How you doing?
Looks are what matter.
Okay. I'm look like Justin Bieber a little bit.
Stanley here with you, and we got another day ahead of us in this city of dreams.
Oh, okay.
The Fourth Corporate War broke out, and
Guys,
entropism
you
was born.
have to like.
Vast and deep crises forced people to
I got
find
you.
ways to survive by any means.
hold on.
Getting the job done, no matter how, was the primary goal. The look,
Turn it down just a little bit.
who cares?
Alright, how's that? Is that better?
Like you might love a mother who popped you out on the steps of an orphanage once and now stops you.
Yeah,
to
sorry
ask if
about
you
that,
got a
guys.
smoke
Let me
for
turn
her.
it down just a little bit.
Fuck them. Fuck this job.
Okay.
Fuck this city.
Damn. Just fuck everything,
Deadly
huh?
elegance without
Alright.
ostentation. Corporate
Yeah, it was a little bit loud in my
militaristic
ear, too.
fashion,
Sorry about
mostly
that,
seen
guys.
In the wealthier parts of town. Substance over style. That's the motto.
Okay. What's this music?
Celebrities, brain dance stars,
Yo,
business
kiss
magnates, heirs to corporate fortunes and corporate executives. They abandoned the cold, deadly elegance of neo-militarism and returned to the roots of kitsch, but gave it a
Neo-militarism.
fresh, new look.
Lizzy Wizzy.
Oh shit, these hands. Sometimes it seems like I just brushed something and sparks fly.
Interesting. You guys don't understand. Look at this. Yo, who
Thank
was
you
up in
for your
space?
attention. We wish you a very pleasant stay in our marvelous metropolis. Good luck, and goodbye.
NC's Legends! Know where you'll find most of them? The
damn.
graveyard. Luckily, matters not where you're from, matters not where you start. What matters here is the walk you walk.
Just before this episode started, you might have tuned in
Ooh,
early
I got
and
chills.
seen our Cyberpunk
I got chills.
cosplay contest finale. But just in case you've missed it, we've prepared a little summary for you featuring our very talented finalists. In the Cyberpunk cosplay contest, we asked our very talented community to cosplay a character from the game based on the art, screenshots, videos, cosplay guides, etc. We thought regular trophies weren't quite cool enough, so we decided that the top 3 will receive detailed props based on weapons from the game. They have been specifically made
This
for
is
this
crazy.
occasion, and the
My mind
winners
is
can do
blown.
with them as they please.
My mind is just.
And now, the 12 best Cyberpunk cosplayers who have competed for first place in the first official Cyberpunk 2077 cosplay contest. Are you ready to meet them?
Sure. I didn't know they had a contest going, to be real with you. I didn't know they even had that. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, the beat's kind of fire. That's a sick one. I like that one. The Royce cosplay, that one's nice. How long did that take you to make? Like, ooh. Okay, respect. Respect.
Now, before we wrap up today's episode, there is one more thing to talk about. Previously, we announced that Cyberpunk 2077 was coming to Stadia, and today we can tell you that it is arriving on November 19th alongside other platforms, and pre-orders are starting now.
Like,
Night
on
City
real?
Wire is
Who the hell
almost
plays
over,
Stadia,
but if you
though?
do want just a little bit more, then stay tuned right here on the Twitch channel and join us for our post show. As always, don't forget that if you've missed anything or if you just want to watch again, we will be uploading everything to our channels shortly, and we'll be back with Night City Wire episode 5 soon. No, actually, there is one more thing we're going to show you.
Okay.
Welcome to the diner.
The diner? Alright, what you got? What you got?
Supercar, big house. You want to rule this city? Well, you ain't getting anywhere without an upgrade. You need a softer touch. Stronger's fine, because taking over Night City ain't gonna be easy.
I'm in.
Cyberpunk 2077. Available November 19th.
Okay. Alright. So is that it? Of the diner, or what's good? Alright. Chat. We're gonna have to go back on this one, brother. But we're gonna stay tuned for this little live show that's about to have happen. Not bad. Not bad. Like, it was okay. Unlike previous live shows they have did, this one was actually solid. You know, we seen some good stuff, but I kind of want to go back and then see some things and go into a little bit of detail of certain characters and how the cyberware works, because you know, your boy out here, I'm kind of iffy because I don't know what kind of path I'm going to do. Yeah, I can do, you know, what everyone else is doing. Everyone else is doing, like, you know, the Nomad, it seems like. So I'm either in between Street Kid or Nomad. It's just what I'm thinking. So, but we're going to see. We're definitely going to see. We see some interesting cyberware in this one too, though. Like those legs make that dude jump higher. And also, homie had no arms, so they gave her like new arms. Okay. Ooh, let's go. All right, chat. I'm finna shut up. Uh-oh. She's muted, yo. Holly, you muted. Is somebody gonna tell them that they muted? Hold on. Cuz you muted, bruh. Oh, brother, no. Please say it ain't so. Oh, snap. So, yeah, though. While we wait for them to come back, with so much interesting things they just showed in that short span of his like rapid fire scenes, we definitely have to go back on that. Like them Kuroshis.
The video itself.
Okay, there we go. Let me shut up.
Answer whatever is on your mind.
Do
Also,
poll
you can ask,
stuff.
Yeah, however those work, magic, and you can also ask questions.
Damn, Alana, always messing up.
So you can ask.
Okay, it sounds like our directors have just told us in here that we did not have audio at the very beginning. We should be okay now. I believe the problems have been solved. Hello, everyone. I'm Alana. I'm joined by Jesse. We've already done this and spoken about how excited we are about cars.
Hey,
Let me ask
let's
you again,
go.
Jesse, how can everyone who can now hear us, we figured it out, tech issues, get involved?
Well, first off, nice to hear from you, and it's nice to be heard. And it's unfortunately no one heard my sad cries for help as I
very offensive. So.
Ooh.
Right, I mean, yeah.
Glad we bleeped that.
Anyway, if you want to get involved today with the post show and you want to let people know what you're thinking, obviously there are polls on your screen right now. If you click there, you can answer whatever your vibe is, however you're feeling. If you have questions,
I don't know.
Comments,
I just want to play, bro.
we will grab a bunch of them and answer them to the best of our ability, or maybe we'll bring someone on who can answer them better, right, Alana?
We absolutely will, yes. We will be hearing from a developer, and we have a cool cosplay guest, which you guys will absolutely hear more from later. We're very excited to have them on, so yeah, plenty of questions you guys can ask that we will feed directly to a dev live here. So, don't hold back. Let's do it all. Let's ask all the juicy questions we have left. But first off, let's just jump into our impressions of what we just saw here, Jesse. We definitely got a vehicle-heavy overview, or a vibe from this episode of Night City Wire.
Yes.
How are you feeling about the cars?
I'm thrilled that there's a large variety of cars. I'm curious, and I definitely have a question for Miles when he comes on. I have a question
that is
about...
That is by the way, Miles tossed.
Hey, the homie Miles.
I have a question about...
How's the audio, guys? Is that good? Is that better?
There was a thing that related to stats and the theft of cars, and I'm curious how that relates to the types of cars, right? So economy versus heavy versus a sporty car. How do your stats affect the theft of those things? I do not know.
Question.
So I'm curious to figure that out.
It also seems like you can have a lot of them. I remember talking to someone on the CD Projekt Red team not that long ago who said, if you wanted to play the game as a person who just wants to collect all of the vehicles, in theory you could do that, but it would take you a ridiculous amount of time. So I'm like, seeing the variety of vehicles.
Collect all
the
vehicles? What the?
Makes me more excited to see how different people play this game and the different approaches they have, what they want to collect, what kind of character they are, what kind of build they have, what they look like. I just feel like we're going to see a lot more variety than
Yo, that woman hanging out the window.
At the end of the day, still Geralt. No complaints.
The hell?
Love Geralt. but not as diverse.
Yeah, there is no Porsche Roach, so you get what you get.
Porsche Roach. Oh, look at that little small car.
We
Look
have
at that little
both played
smart
the game
car.
as well, Jesse, and I feel like it's worth.
It's a little smart car.
The way that you summon vehicles is virtually exactly.
Oh my
the way
God.
that you summon Roach, right?
Yeah.
Which is
You
just
just,
this D-pad.
Yeah, you whipping that little buggy.
It also
Oh,
pings
shit.
on the map if you park somewhere nearby. It'll be like, hey, your car is right over here. You left it in the middle of the street, right where you left it. And when you get back, everyone's like, what are you doing? Look, I had to go kill a guy, but I'm back now.
Priorities, man. But yeah, it's very cool that basically if you want to summon it to you,
Like.
yeah, you just, I think it's down or up on the D-pad, and it'll just drive around a corner and just wait for you.
These are some nice cars.
That's what I've always wanted vehicles to do, really. Just automatic driving
The future
cars.
is here. Yeah.
Didn't see anything go wrong, but I am curious if I can kill someone with a well-timed car summon or something like that.
I would be almost positive you could. Well-timed for sure, yes.
Well, this is work on that, but for
Who
anyone who
is that
missed
lady?
it, there are multiple car classes, including the executive, heavy-duty, sport, hypercars.
I love you, Anna.
They also have real-life cars
Alana.
in the game, in addition
I said
to
Anna.
all of their unique vehicle types.
Lana be getting all the boys, huh?
cars are different
Yeah,
in
like,
different
get off my
parts of the
screen.
gameplay. We saw a
Thanks.
fair amount of variety, and it looks like a lot of customization.
Okay, I can't
Well,
fix that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, in chat, what vehicle class are you most excited for? There's a poll going right now. If you would like to let us know.
All of them.
There
I'm
are many
excited
to
for
choose
all of
from,
them.
And in each category, it looks like there are, like Lana was saying, a lot of different cars and probably a lot of things you can do to mess with them. So.
Why that red look like a
Yeah,
Bugatti?
and we also
That's
got some
definitely the front of the
information
Bugatti.
about, street racing, which is a thing I didn't think that I knew before today. I don't think if I was aware of that, or maybe I missed it somewhere. When I played the game, I think you and I played on the same build, Jesse. I know they were still tweaking driving. They had mentioned that they were considering going with something that felt a little bit like Forza Horizon versus something that felt maybe like GTA. I don't remember, that's not a quote, so don't quote me, but they were just playing with different driving styles in game, and I was like, I'm very interested to see how whatever they end up going with, however it is tuned, ends up feeling in street races, because the way that a car feels, very important, because I've been playing GTA for years and still don't particularly enjoy street races. Forza Horizon, on the other hand, love
Yeah,
it.
true.
So it's a good way to
I
spend
can
time.
agree with that.
I always enjoy street race. Very curious what the driving is going to fully end up feeling.
I want the
like.
Keanu bike. Yeah, that bike is pretty fire.
How much can I bring my custom vehicle to it? Is it going to be class based? Like how intense is this stuff going to get? I wonder.
And when they stick you in the driver's seat and you have that view and perspective, I think the idea of feel is important because you're in it, right? You're in the seat, and so it's a little bit more part of the requirement, kind of, is the idea of like, if you're gonna put me in the seat and not just have the outside third-person view, then I want to feel like I'm in the car.
Of course
you
you do,
when they
bro.
showed the sound,
Of course you have a
and the way they did
wager.
the sound,
That's just
engineering,
typical.
I thought that
Every
was
street race have a
phenomenal, because
wager,
I think at the end
bro.
of the day, having all of those microphones, the whole idea is you probably shouldn't realize that they have all those microphones. Is just feel like you're in a car. Everything you would hear in a car, so you wouldn't notice. Right? It's one of those weird things where good sound design is just like, oh yeah, well that's just how that sounds. Right?
I love the nerdy sound design stuff. Like, I love seeing people do those jobs and do them well. I think it's so cool. We did just have a question on screen from, I think, Vanilla Latte. What's the name of that?
Yeah, that name did go hard.
That's my drink of choice. You gotta get Vanilla Latte. Who was
I feel
asking
you.
if they think that we'll have
I
to
feel
wager
her. I'm
before we
tired
go
as
into
hell.
races, and I think that's an interesting question.
I need
because
some
it can
drinks,
tie into
man.
The economy in a really interesting way, which is a part of RPGs that I tend to really enjoy, is like, how do you get around the economy? Something that I've enjoyed since the original Fable, where you were buying houses or visiting traders at different points in time and like playing with the stock market. I think that stuff is really fun, and it's definitely a way that you can make money, is if you can basically wager on yourself in a street race versus every other vehicle available. That stuff takes a little while to learn, and obviously depends on your skill, but in this case could also depend on how customized every other car is, which, I don't know, could get pretty crazy.
Yeah,
True.
I would love. I think that is definitely a dev question, something we should ask, because I truly.
Where's Miles
there's
at?
A lot of questions there.
Put Miles on the screen.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, as we were talking about where sound design is concerned, like I've seen a few BTS videos of people doing that with like Call of Duty, and how extensive they get with the amount of microphones that are involved in those kinds of things. Obviously,
those mics cost like
exciting when you're racing.
a lot of money.
Seem like it's
like
a very
sound
big
design
part of their job, as I think Holly joked about, is like you guys just get to drive around in sweet cars after rigging up some microphones. That seems like the best thing ever. But it's interesting to see, like, well, we put a microphone here for this sound, or here for this sound, or here for this sound, just to make sure that things sound completely authentic. And I was surprised by the note in this that they said they wanted them to sound like real combustion engines rather than necessarily future tech. I like that. What do you think, Jesse?
Well, I mean, I think that's the vibe of Cyberpunk in general, is that it's the future, but we're not in flying cars. We're not the Jetsons. It's like it's a grounded
flying cars,
future.
though.
yeah, he's hanging on to that rail.
But only corpos roll around in those because
I know.
they're amazing.
Yeah.
But for most people, the vibe is you're not going to have that luxury. You're not going to have cars that sound like beep, 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 beep. I guess that's a future car sound. I don't know.
Yes, very luxury. They beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
That's like a pager going off.
Is the gritty, nasty, we are just scraping to get by. I mean, Johnny's car is 100 years old, like that kind of thing. Where,
That's crazy.
You have this future that isn't as polished as Night City wants it to be, and most people are having to, sort of rig their cars with what's available. And I love the idea that, look, combustion engines are still a thing, and this is what we deal with.
We hate the environment, but we love the sound. We did get results from one of the polls we just ran here. 66% of you guys said you are most excited for hypercars. I feel like that makes sense.
Agreed. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, checks out.
Yeah.
A very inoffensive 66% that everyone agrees with. Yeah, I feel like I don't know what I'm most excited for yet because I really want to, like, feel it, Just gotta
Same boat. Same
understand
boat.
What's up for me, and then I'm sure I'll specify, but still waiting for the game to come out.
I'm still trying to figure out the benefit of 6 wheels versus 4 when driving through this. I love how they started showing cars, and every so often it'd be just a 6-wheeled car, and I'm like,
Yeah. What the hell?
What are those extra wheels for?
Dirt. No,
Dirt?
nomads. Maybe
a lot of dirt.
You know what's crazy?
And that.
Like, hold on. I don't mean.
Question, do you guys
I don't mean to talk over here though, but real quick, I noticed like, you ever notice when you see the 6-wheel type of cars, it's always in the cities, and never in like
My biggest thing with that particular question.
I'm gonna turn it down real quick. Like, you never notice that you never see the 6-wheel cars in the nomad area. It's always on the street kids. That's all I seen it. All I ever seen was in the street. All right, let's get back to this. Sorry about that.
Anyway, it's an RPG. It's a very, very, very extensive RPG that's highly customizable. It is all about dialogue choices or choosing not to engage. You have the option to just not respond to people if you want to. Seeing where those paths take you. I mean, even every mission that you do, you can do from a completely different order to someone else. I think one of the main missions that we've seen in previous gameplay where you go to the Maelstrom sort of hive base has, I believe it was like over 5.
Yeah, Whiplash.
I got one where I managed to
I like RPGs. Okay, bro. All right.
Because I managed to get the 2 sides who were involved there to fight each other. So it is a lot more of an RPG. It is about your V and how you take on Night City, which is obviously very different to GTA. I don't imagine that the open world will feel that dissimilar to GTA necessarily, being that they are both based on, well, in 5 at least, GTA, both based on the West Coast, California, basically. So that part of it, I think, will feel similar. I don't know that I can tell you if it's going to be better than GTA, but it is a very different game, and I always want to just remind people they're very, very different things.
So, I think we definitely need to talk about the special nature of Johnny Silverhand's car, and the fact that they went out and were like, all right, what is the car this man would drive? And they're like, well, we're going to pick a Porsche, and we're going to make it the coolest looking. It's so ridiculous that when you look at it compared to everything else in the game, I'm impressed by the fact that they're giving not only him his own style, but everything about him his own style.
Oh yeah.
I'm thrilled that they decided to go with 100 years. I don't know why that's great. I don't know why, but I love it. It's a detail that is unnecessary, but is fantastic. What do you think about this?
Oh, I think it's cool because like he very much seems like a punk rock guy in this world. I don't know that. Look, as a person who was driven a Porsche
That is nice.
911, this car
That is nice.
is a 1977 Porsche 911 Turbo, which I believe the slang for is Porsche 930. I have driven those. They're beautiful. I don't know that I would have chosen that for Johnny Silverhand personally. I don't know if that's what I would have gone with. I feel like maybe I would have done something a bit more, I want to say aggressive, but that's maybe like an off perception of how I feel about a Porsche 911. I love it though. I think it's so cool. I agree the 100 years thing is awesome. Like it seems like a thing that this particular
I probably would have went more
He
like
seems old-school,
bikes
just comes
because
across
that was like
way.
Keanu
Obviously,
thing.
the lead singer of a popular band before
Or like a
chip in V's head, which for the record, Jesse and I, our gameplay, we did not.
I don't know, like a
have
Corvette.
Johnny
I'm thinking
Silverhand
Corvette
talking to us at
for
all.
Johnny
I think that was
Silverhand.
probably just beyond
I'm just thinking of Corvettes.
maybe,
I feel like
guess,
Corvette would be
yeah,
like
Johnny
way better.
Silverhand, maybe like 5 hours in.
Yeah.
6 or so? I don't know.
He's kind of a mystery, in not only in the game but also character-wise, right? He's a guy who is
Sorry about that.
anti-war. He definitely has this sort of like rebel vibe, but at the same time, it's kind of like burn it all down. So
Yeah.
it's great to see these different aspects of him as a character, and hopefully they are developed more and more as you go through the game, so that you as a player who may not be familiar with the lore of the Cyberpunk universe get to kind of experience who this dude is. I hope that comes through.
I saw someone in chat said he seems like a Mustang guy, this is Salavo. I'm like, I kind of agree with that. I probably would have gone with a Mustang, but hey.
Really?
Porsche 911's a beautiful car, not hating. I respect it.
I still say Corvette.
Yeah, also,
but that's just me.
Chat,
It's just me.
What are your reactions to the car? Besides us talking, there's a poll right now. You can tell us in chat what you think, and I believe there should be more information coming soon about that. So stay tuned.
Exciting stuff. You know what I love? Information. Great stuff. Love to see it. So we've already spoken about his car, but let's jump into just the Keanu Reeves involvement in this particular Night City. Why? It's always nice to see him. It's nice to see him. Just love seeing his face. You know?
He always has this look of just like, man, I'm just excited to be around. I'm just happy people want to talk to me. Don't know why.
General.
I'm like, oh, Keanu.
There is something about Keanu Reeves that I feel like he just sort of at some point became a darling that we all love and must protect. Sad Keanu meme, obviously, but thankfully he did not look sad in this. He seemed actually really excited, which is very cool. Obviously combining some of Keanu Reeves' passions here. I mean, I don't know how passionate he is about video games, actually, but I know he thinks we're breathtaking, and I know he likes motorbikes.
That is what I've heard.
It's so cool to see him. Was this the ad that played? It's the one that has him sort of live action in it. I think it recently played at a sports, I believe, Jesse. It played
at a sport, you say?
Yes.
It
NBA
was
Finals.
All over the TV not too long ago, and it is the first big wave of ads for the game. But if you know anything about Keanu, you know that for years he's been a motorcycle dude. This is like his.
To be honest with you, I feel like they really don't need mainstream television
incredibly terrified
to promote this game.
Of the open road and nothing between me and it.
Makes sense to me that you feel that way. That checks out with what I know about you as a person.
Yeah, I'm like, look, I think they're amazing, but I don't know that I'd ever be on one. But yeah.
Someone in chat said Keanu Reeves is our modern Jesus. Don't at me. Well, I added you in front of everyone, so. But I buy it. There's something about him, you know. He's just there it is on screen. He's just a lovely guy, and yeah, obviously worth
He
noting
seemed chill.
is the co-founder of Arch Motorcycles, who had a collaboration, I guess, with him for this project to bring an Arch motorcycle into the game, which is extra cool. It's like a cool collaborative effort beyond him, being the character of Johnny Silverhand. He actually gets to have ultimately one of the bikes his company has worked on in the game. I think that's awesome, and I'm loving the vehicle variety. It's tremendous. I feel like it's going to take ages to get a grasp of how many there are. Like, I wonder if there's a way in the UI that you can see a full list of everything, and then we'll just like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, for real.
It's nice stuff. I got called out here. Someone said Porsche over Mustang any day. It's fair.
A lot of people saying their first playthroughs.
I like the bike. I just don't like the back of the bike, bro.
It'll be a long playthrough.
It's just the back of the bike is not.
But
the front,
solid,
beautiful. The
solid
back
fun.
is
Yeah.
eh.
Stay tuned, by the way, because we have a live AMA with senior level designer Miles Tost, who's going to answer your questions. So get him ready, and we will hit him up with, you know, if you have questions about doors. I hear he's really good at answering questions about doors. Like, that is his specialty.
Okay.
So, if you're
We
ready.
have heard that. Very excited. Don't know what it means, but very excited to learn more.
Yeah.
Before we talk to Miles, get your questions ready, everyone. Let's talk about some of the visual styles of Night City. We have seen this, I feel like, sort of touched on in every Night City wire. They kind of just touch on a little parts of it. But I feel like we had a bit of a deeper dive into the way that Night City looks this time around. How are you feeling about the city, Jesse?
I'm still always impressed. What they show in the trailers and in the different Night City wires and things, it's only a fraction. Having
Like,
driven around it, having
look
seen
at
the
that.
city itself, like we just saw there on the screen, it's huge, and there's a lot of different areas
Okay. Ooh.
to explore and to see.
This
to
is
get lost
beautiful.
in, and visually, things from discovering the
Yo, she had no,
Chinatown area.
she had no
I mean,
feet,
the
bro.
visuals there are
I just
awesome.
realized that.
To going to some of the like real. I don't want to say seedy because it's supposed to be corpo. So
All right,
everything
we're
seems
gonna talk
very,
about that.
polished and neat, but like underneath it all, it's grimy. The different areas of town that the neon, the use of just the way they created the buildings, right? Even the buildings have a
It's
vibe.
not visors,
Vibe,
okay.
but also kind of still rooted in reality. Everything about this city is amazing, and just exploring it is
Yo,
fun.
homie had
Someone
no
earlier before the
arms.
stream started asked if there were other ways that I should explore the city besides just driving, and I was like, look,
See, that's really
driving's
gross.
great.
That
You
3 mile
just
thing
wanna
is nasty.
Get out and walk, and just walk through the city and see things from that perspective, because that too is really neat.
Yeah, one thing that I really like about it is when it comes to exploring the city as well, that we found out at the end of the last Night City wire, is that all of the streets will have names, street signs, meaning that it should be very easy for you to actually tell other people where you are, instead of being like, well, I did this quest, it was called this. You should be able to be like, oh, I was on this street, the one with this restaurant, and I love the idea of that, and that translating into the real world. But this particular look at Night City was more about the visual styles. They are kitsch, intrimism, neo-militarism, and neo-kitsch. And this is a thing that I've been saying since the first time that I
Neo-kitsch.
really saw the game, but
Interesting.
definitely when I first played it. So many of the NPCs have such dramatically different styles. Like, the diversity of style is so unique. The way people are dressed, the colors, the way they've dyed their hair. Like, this neo-kitsch here is like, seems like what the celebrities kind of do. It's just, everyone you see on the street is a completely different looking human. I'm sure realistically there
That
have
hair.
some doubles. That's, in theory, that has to be a thing, but just dudes wearing skirts with green mohawks and nobody cares, and it's super cool. Like, I really love the visual variety of just the characters that you walk around, and
I mean,
getting a little bit more information about these distinct styles and where they come from. Like,
Bro,
I wonder
I'm
if, as
so
we're
ready
playing,
to
we learn
play.
more about, the origins of
So ready.
different particular styles. Like, we know that intrimism specifically is about not caring at all about the way that you look, which I respect. Neo-militarism is about elegance without ostentation, and the neo-kitsch is basically just super, super, super rich, kitschy. So very, very fancy stuff. So I think that just the attention to detail, man. You know what I'm saying? It's overwhelming, and I love it.
A poll results already is that 39% of you say that you prefer neo-militarism as a style.
Interesting.
I get it. It looks sleek,
Interesting,
it looks
interesting.
future, it looks like what you'd expect in a world like this. However, have you really taken a look at neo-kitsch? Because that is where that's where I'm going.
Everything
same,
I
bro.
do is gonna
Same.
Be like, all right, how flamboyant can I make my character, and what do I need to do to make that happen? It's just that's where I'm gonna be.
Yeah, and obviously, like, you can customize your look. Someone in chat asked if you could give a male via skirt. I can't see why not. I imagine you can. But hey, we do have someone that we can ask. We've got joining us from CG Project Red. Miles Tost.
It's the homie.
Any second now.
Let's go, dude.
I think it's happening.
Miles.
Let's go, brother.
Hey.
Hey. Oh.
How you doing,
Nice to
Miles?
be here with you guys. Doing fine, doing great. I just watched the episode, I think, like for first time in full. You know, not just the bits and pieces. And actually, it's really nice to see it all come together.
I imagine, yeah, it's very, very cool stuff. So we've got a lot of broad questions today, but just for everyone in chat, so that they know, what do you specialize in? What specifically can you speak to where the game is?
The level designer.
Yes, so I'm one of the level designers working on the game, and previously I worked on Witcher 3, and then I think after Blood and Wine I switched to Cyberpunk, right? And together with the other level designers, we've been making sure that well, the city that you walk through actually plays nicely, right? We've been preparing all the
I wonder if he's still
locations that
wearing
you,
like those.
you will visit during quests, right? We've been working closely with our dear colleagues, the quest designers, and many other departments to make sure that
Yeah, I do like Miles'
the
hair.
narrative is supported in these, and that all
Ain't
the
no lie,
tools
Miles' hair is
that you
looking
as a
pretty nice
player
right now, brother.
have at your disposal, right? The cyberware that you have, the different skills you can invest in, and that you can actually use them on the level.
We appreciate that for sure. So anyone who has any questions about level design, feel free to ask us. We will throw some of your questions to Miles here. But I guess I really wanted to ask, because we've touched on it a little bit today, if you can speak to it, how much of an understanding of just playing through the game of these different styles will we get? Are there different regions where people dress more kitsch than other regions? Is this something that is actually built into the level design, or is it more passive than that?
It's actually something we built the world on, really. It's something that we really thought about a lot. I think one of the graphics you kind of see that we just show like this timeline, this roadmap going through, right? And we actually really sat down and came up with the history of how these styles,
Miles,
you know,
Doors,
sort of,
explain.
affected the world and how they evolved from one into the other. And
man.
for us, it really helped us sort of define the looks of the city. All these styles come attached with certain demographics, right? Certain social classes, right? The entropy is for generally something you would see in poorer areas, whereas the neo-kitsch one, of course, that's something that the super rich afford for themselves. And for us, it was really cool, you know, if you, for example, start making cars or any of the designs, you know,
Smart
like
car!
The devices is what I wanted to say, right? Like a phone or anything. Then you can always look at this and go, okay, how would this device look like in the same, in the different art styles, right? So how would the cell phone look as an entropy phone? How would it look in a neo-kitsch version, right? And you'll see these with things even like the vending machines in the city, right? And that allows the player to always kind of gauge.
That is gorgeous. That is a gorgeous car. I can't lie to you on that one.
In, right? In a rich corpo area, you'll not find any entropic-looking vending machines, for example, right? And again, in terms of world building, this has been tremendously valuable for us because it was something that really allowed us also to communicate about what we wanted to do in certain areas.
Miles, this is less of a question and more of a demand, I think. Chat wants to know, Miles, Doors, explain!
Oh my god. All right. Yeah, I always feel a bit bad about bringing this up because it seems like something that only I have done, right? There's barely anything in the game's development that only one person has done. There's always multiple people doing something, right? So it's hard to kind of claim credit for one thing. But this term actually comes from my dear friend Fabian, our German PR guy, who's actually sort of been trolling me at the beginning a lot by mentioning that I've had to work a lot on the doors in Witcher 3, and it actually derived from one certain bug that I told him about, which he kind of blamed.
Sorry about that, chat. Sorry.
It was in Blood and Wine. There was this moment where we had this bug where we somehow, for random reasons, the doors just always opened after a certain moment in the game, even the ones that were supposed to be locked, so you could go into houses and drop underground and all that. Was nasty, right? And yeah, we eventually ended up fixing this bug. I don't want to go too deep into that, but ever since then, I've sort of turned into the door guy. Fabian has made his quest to make this a thing, and in Cyberpunk, as a level designer, you can't avoid working with doors. So actually, the level design team was the one team that sort of went around setting up all the doors, making sure that this one is locked, this one is not locked, this one you can break open with your Gorilla Arm cyberware, right? And all of these properties. So that's the story about that. So if you need to know anything about the doors in the game, they too, by the way, come in the different art styles, right? You can ask me, and level design is sure to be able to help you out.
It is hot as hell in my room.
Truly one of the least cool, but still kind of cool superpowers ever is you're just door guy, so I respect it.
Yeah, kinda. But you know, the interesting thing about doors, as is, you know, with many things in video games, is that something that seems so simple, something that players just, you know, that walk past, they don't really acknowledge it in ideal cases, is something that to us designers can pose a huge challenge, right? It's something where we have meetings upon meetings on to decide on what properties these doors kind of have, how the player can react with them, and how it might fuck up our quests, right? When, you know, a door doesn't work.
It's so funny to think about, but you're absolutely right. We appreciate you. Thank you for making nice doors for us. We do have to pivot. We've got a question here from Voldemort Fuse that said, tell us about weather effects and day-night cycles. Question mark. This is a question, not a demand.
Yeah. Sure. So, like in our previous games, Cyberpunk also features a fully dynamic day and night cycle, right? Which is amazing to see, you know, because you actually can witness the city going from daytime into nighttime, right? The amount of people on the streets changing and all that, and of course, all the lights turning on, right? Cyberpunk is something that is deeply associated with neon lighting. I actually have one here in the back. I decided to turn it off after I realized it's way too bright on the camera. But you know, it's everywhere, and just seeing that transition is really, really nice. And for us, it was also something really cool to kind of break open this association of Cyberpunk with the night, right? Because the city and our game world also exists during daytime, right? And in some parts, one might even say that daytime can be even more dangerous than nighttime, right? In certain ways, certainly. And yeah, of course, we also have a weather system that people even react to, right? They will take out umbrellas when it starts raining, and of course, you'll also see puddles forming on the streets, right? That will go away when the sun comes back out. There's quite a bit of cool technical eye candy stuff happening. That really sells the idea of this world actually being alive, right? And it's actually to the point where I don't even know what my favorite combination of time of day and weather really is, because there's always one spot in the city that, you know, will look amazing in one version or the other. And yeah, I can't wait for everyone to actually be able to roam the city and see that.
Hell yeah.
Blood Artist wants to know, are there any areas that are only accessible with the double jump mechanics or cybernetics?
Oh, that's a really good question to ask a level designer, and I should probably know, right? I actually don't know if we have lots of areas where it's completely blocked off to other players if they don't have double jump, but we do certainly have moments where people with double jump are able to take shortcuts and benefit from being able to access higher ground, right? Be that to be able to get into a position so you can do an aerial takedown, right? Or to be able to reach certain places faster and more easily than other playstyles. With the game being so big, I will say that I don't know every single nook and cranny, which is, you know, a great thing for me when I eventually get to play it. So we level designers, and also like like all the other teams, we are able to surprise each other with the stuff that we kind of put into the game. So I wouldn't be surprised to find that, you know, maybe a colleague of mine was able to actually, or somehow, you know, in an open world activity, put some loot that can only be accessed via double jump and so on. It's all part of our mission to, you know, make the skills that you actually invest in and the character that you build feel worthwhile, right? If there's no spots to double jump on, what point is there to get the double jump, right? And yeah, we always want to make it so that it feels worthwhile what you invested in.
We've got another question here from Sidrek. It says, it's clear we can steal cars, but do we get to store and keep them indefinitely?
This is actually something I would like to answer a bit more broadly, because Jesse, I remember you asked about a question, or you wanted to ask about a question, right? Look at that.
Really?
So, if I remember correctly, you wanted to know, can you maybe ask that one as well, so I can tie it into this one?
Yeah. So the question that I had for you was, you know, we have economy cars and executive cars and heavy cars and sporty and hyper. I think that's all of them, and motorcycles. And we have all these variety of cars, and I know that in a previous Night City Wire, there was talk about how the RPG elements, the stats you have, affect your ability to, like, you know, you can rip the door off a car if you're jacked. What is the sort of mechanics with all these different types of car, like RPG mechanic-wise, breaking into a car that is a heavy car versus an economy car? What is the difference there? Is it just as simple as, like, well, you have the stat to unlock a car, so you got it, or is there layers to that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so as you said, Cyberpunk is an RPG, right? So stats are important, and like when the player actually starts out the journey, they won't just be able to steal any car, because essentially you're not good enough. You need to learn, right? And this is not so complicated, because ultimately, you know, the whole mechanic is kind of part of the experience, right? Of traversing the city. So you'll have to invest some skill points in either your strength attribute, which is the body attribute, right, or your technical knowledge, to be able to break into cars. One is a stat that you'll mostly use if you want to yeet people out of their cars while they're driving, right? That's the strength one. And the other one is for cars that are parked, right, for the ability to break into it. However, we don't really do much layering beyond that, simply because it's you know, like you learn the skill, and then you're good enough to be able to break into this. It's sort of part of, you know, V's journey and becoming like a better and better mercenary, right? Now, as for the question that was asked about whether I get to keep my stolen cars, the answer is no, you actually don't get to keep your stolen cars, but you can drive around with them. And the good news is that you'll be able to, basically any car that you might want to steal, you'll also be able to acquire it in other ways, right? And then when you actually have gathered up a collection of cars, we've mentioned before that you can actually call them, right? Like the car will just drive up to your position. But with multiple cars, you actually have like a little drop-down menu even if you want to decide which car it is or which vehicle, because we also have bikes that will drive up to your position that you can then go on a car ride with.
Just like Broach, I love it. We have another question here from Dwezzle, who said, how much customization is there for vehicles, colors, decals, and performance?
Yeah, so while we don't really have that much customization in the game for the cars, what we do have is different variants of cars, right? So basically you'll be able to acquire and pick like different variations of the same type of car. And as Paul mentioned in the Night City Wire episode, they also drive differently, right? So it really depends on what kind of a type of car you will want to have, even of a specific, what do you even call it, type that
Hold on,
really
chat.
depends on you.
This is getting kind of crazy.
I mean, you know, some of the cars they're it's kind of like for example the Porsche, right? That's like a car that's yeah. When you get it in the game, I think it's something that, you know, like is nice as it is. It has some history. We actually just didn't randomly pick, you know, Porsche to work with us. but the car is actually, like it's actually part of the original lore. That Johnny was driving a Porsche car in around the 2020s. I'm not actually exactly sure
There
which
you
time.
go.
So that's where that connection is, right? And I think it's really important to sort of mention that, there's intent behind it. There was lots of thoughts that went into it, and we're super happy, of course, that you'll be able to basically drive Johnny's original car.
Hell yeah.
Going back to customization, Tom BSV wants to know, can we mix styles as in outfits? Is the outfits or is it full body things, or will we be able to mix pieces of clothing?
We actually have both. So, you'll be able to mix clothing to your heart's content, but occasionally you might have to wear a specific outfit, right? To dress for the occasion. And I won't say more as to what that might mean because, I don't want to do any story spoilers, of course. So, yeah, it's a little bit of both, really. But ultimately, point is
we
to...
could sort of touch on that. Jesse and I had to change to do a mission in a corporate structure. So there was an instance where, like, Hitman style, I had to get changed to infiltrate a building.
Right.
So I assume that's the kind of thing you're alluding to.
Exactly.
Very cool. Sorry that I cut you off there. We have another question
No
from
worries.
the Raging Canadian. Are the flying vehicles available to players?
You won't be able to own one and drive around it freely because that would give me and my colleagues all sorts of nightmares.
Yeah.
It would ramp up the amount of content we would create beyond what we've already created quite a bit, right?
I bet.
There's a lot of design questions that you would need to ask if you made flying vehicles available to the player. However, on the occasion, you'll be able to enter a flying vehicle and go on a trip with it. And that's mostly like a quest thing, though. And these moments are kind of special. Even, especially also, I guess, lore-wise, if you will, flying cars are not something that is really available to the general masses, right? It's something that only the super rich people have, kind of like private jets nowadays, right? So, yeah.
You guys don't have private jets?
No, something. Level design, they say. It will be fun, they said, right? Oh, Mom, I should have listened to her.
Is that Chobo 20? I can't see if that's an E in my eyes.
Chobe.
Chobe? Thank you. Chobe 22. What is the in-game music like? Are there radios in cars? And can you change music?
So, I think this is something I'm not actually quite sure if I'm allowed to talk about it yet, or if this is something we're still keeping a bit as a surprise. I don't think I have any means right now to figure out if I can. So I'll, when in doubt, say a bit less on this. But yeah, we've sort of already, you've already heard broadcasts of Stanley Media sort of talking over, like greeting everyone, hello, Night City, right? So there's definitely something we're doing. You can guess what that is. But for sure, lots of energy actually went into making the music, and something that I find that is really, really cool is that, and it sounds a bit like I'm insulting our composers now, but sort of they have opted to have like very little music when you're just walking around the city, right? There's very little ambient music, so mostly you'll have lots of the sort of city sounds, right? You'll hear the audio of the ads being blared around the city, in different languages, and that is super cool. And then music kicks in cool story moments to underline that, right? Appropriate to the situation, but also, of course, in combat. And one thing that I find that is really cool is that most gangs actually have their own sort of combat music as well, right? Which sort of helps define the districts and the whole world again, right? And you'll be able to more easily understand who you're fighting, and it really allows the tone, of the combat to become really consistent and nice.
I'm gonna try to have a higher
People
bit
don't
rate for you
realize
guys next time.
those things are until you turn
Sorry
it
about
on.
that, guys. I was
until you turn
checking
all
out
the sound off,
something.
and then you're like,
Something was
there's
iffy.
So much atmosphere that goes into that stuff. It's awesome.
And one thing
got
that's
another question
particularly
here.
magical
Sorry, go
to
ahead.
me, is, you know, like, I remember very well the first moment I went into a club in Night City, right? Like, the moment of walking up to it, then hearing the music or the bass from inside, you know, heavily muted. Then you go in through the first door, right? You're at the reception area, it's a bit louder. Things are, like, you still have the muted bass, and then finally you enter the club room and, you know, like, then are immersed in the club music. And it really helps having, like, you know, actual music playing in that with the many collaborators that we have working on the project.
Yeah, I can't wait. The atmosphere from even the bits that I played were awesome, and I guess this, I think, was related to the question we were just asked, but I was able to change radio in the car. So if that's the thing people care about, I was able to do that.
Wow, you're right. We actually showed that. I forgot that we did like a
It's
hands-on.
okay, I respect
all
it.
this
You're doing your
mystery
job.
and secrecy for nothing. Yeah, okay, there's a radio. You can change the channels. We have different musical channels, and you know.
Hey.
You know it.
There you go. There you go. Breaking news.
Bruh.
There was a question on screen that just disappeared from By Odin's Bionic Beard. I think I got that. You know, who asked if there are any. Thank you. If there are any puzzles or platforming in the game.
Yeah, certainly. There's some moments. You know, we have double jump, right? And and another one we call the charge jump, right? They're quite similar, but they work differently in the mechanics, right? And you know, like, of course we try to sort of incorporate that. And as I said, you know, we like when we have platforming segments, it's mostly to sort of allow players to move places faster and get into positions that might be favorable to them, maybe the sniper position, right? But we always also need to consider that there is a variation of the game where a player might not have the double jump or anything, right? And we don't want them to just be able to get, like, to completely get stuck, right? So always need to consider, okay, if there's a player without double jump and he needs to get there because Jackie, the quest NPC, is waiting over there, we can't just block him, so we need to kind of find a way around. And this is where, again, the whole skill system with all the different tools comes into play, right? Because we then start considering, okay, so maybe this player can hack, so they can use a device on the level to kind of create a path, right? Or maybe this player can't hack, but they're a strong solo, so they can break open the door with sheer force and then progress up the staircase. And then, of course, what if a player has none of all of this? We also need to consider that, and then usually we try to opt and make that sort of the longer path, right?
Interesting.
So it's always
Interesting.
possible, but it might be the more challenging or the more difficult approach. And using your skills, you might end up finding a more clever way of doing something.
I feel like the team here is messing with me, Alana, because you're getting like Odin's Bionic Beard names, and I have Puffy to Jarks.
Look, there
so
was
of course
one
I'm gonna
before
mess that up.
I did want to give a shout out to one before that came up that was Lesbian Overlord, and I was like, nice, respect, nice.
Well, Puffy to Jarks wants to know, is there going to be some sort of special car or special loot, like one in a playthrough thing, like a DeLorean or some collectibles?
Yes.
Hey, good,
Way to
good.
go, Puffy.
Just simple yes.
I guess related, the question Lesbian Overlord asked was, where is the Cybertruck? Have you guys ever spoken to Elon Musk about anything?
I don't think we have.
Don't think so. All right, this is another one from Sallybo. Can we rob people of their cybernetics or body parts? Can you steal people's enhancements?
This is actually like, this is something that really took us a long time to figure out and where we stand with it. Ultimately, we decided that you'll be able to loot cybernetics in some scenarios, right? They're like a special case scenarios. It's not like we always had this thought about, is it okay for us to allow V to be like the butcher of Night City and walk around and collect people's body parts, essentially? And yeah, but then you also have to kind of figure out, okay, but then how do you acquire cyber? Is it only through buying it, right? Or is there different ways? Can we make it cool when it comes to like open world exploration, right? Can we provide it as a reward somehow? And yeah, we had to sit down and come up with ways of doing that. So the short answer would be, yes, you'll be able to loot cyberware.
So maybe I could steal it off a dead body?
Yeah, I suppose you'll have to see when the game comes out how we actually ended up solving that.
Curious. All right. Well, we need to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us, Miles. Your enthusiasm is infectious. Cannot wait to see some of the stuff that you've designed. I guess, is there anything before you head off that you can call to that we should look out for? You know, if we want to see Miles-specific design in the game, anything you're particularly proud of?
Yes,
That you're allowed to
but
talk about.
I can't talk about it before the game
Excellent.
has come out. You know,
Excellent.
we'll meet again and have a chat about it.
Alrighty, well, people can
quest
find you on
designs will be
Twitter,
very
I
sad.
believe. Yeah, well, hey, we've seen some of your work, I'm sure. It all looks amazing. I believe people can find you on Twitter at it's Toast Spender. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
It's a toast spender.
It's much nicer when you say it. As an Australian, I just sound like an idiot. Tossed spender, mate. You made it much nicer. But yeah, if anyone has any extra questions for Miles, look, I'm not going to go tell you to harass him on Twitter, but you could ask him some things, maybe.
I will. Ask him questions.
I
Alrighty,
can't
thank you
wait
so much
for
for
your
joining
next
us.
quest design idea.
Thank you for joining us, Miles. We will see you on the internet.
Thank you.
Okay. Is that it?
Every time that we get to talk to somebody from that team, I'm always just so amazed by how candid they are. They're always just like, it doesn't feel like you're talking to a really rehearsed PR person. They're always like very candid and open and honest, and also just like everyone is always like, well, this is, you know, a team effort. I didn't do this whole thing, and it's just, I don't know. You love to hear that kind of thing. It's very nice to hear the love and support.
It is genuinely crazy to think that I've known most of that team for
T-Mobile,
10
4G,
years.
LTE
It's wild.
device.
And they have not changed. They're the same people they were back then, and they're still just great, down-to-earth folks. So I love them tremendously. But equally cool is for the last few months, Cyberpunk 2077 fans from around the world, much like me, have been submitting their best cosplay interpretations of characters seen in Night City. Today, we are happy to announce the grand final winner. Let's take a look at her video submission right now.
Cosplay since 2015. For this competition, I cosplay Dum Dum, a character which allows me to transform completely into a badass gang member from the world of Cyberpunk 2077. Thanks for watching and goodbye.
Hey, that's pretty fire. I wonder, can she see out of that?
So cool.
I was not expecting that little soft voice.
Thank you for joining us. Your Dum Dum is absolutely insane. Jesse and I saw this earlier, and we're like, okay, first question,
Bro.
how did you get the lights in your face to work?
How?
Oh, that was just one of the simpler parts about the costume. I made a face scan and 3D modeled then the face prosthetics in 3D, printed it out, sanded it, and polished it so it's like shiny metal parts, and then it's just glued onto my face with prosthetic glue, and that's all. So
not that
But
simple.
how did
I
you-
couldn't do it.
Yeah, how did you get the wiring to work so that the lights, you know, they in the video they turn off, they are different colors at some point. Like, how did you make all that happen? Because I was looking at your head trying to figure out where wires were.
The wiring just goes with this straps behind my head. Dum Dum has not real hair. He has like these flat cables, which are also casted. Like every single hair is separately casted and then glued on my head. So the wiring just hides under the hair, goes in the bodysuit around my back, and then we have those pockets in the military vest he wears, and there are the batteries.
It's just insane. None of this is simple. Don't sell yourself
Bro.
short. I'm absolutely amazed. And it's also cool to see your actual face, because seeing this video beforehand, it was like, I have no concept of what you really look like. It's nuts. You fully look like you just belong in the cyberpunk world, which is obviously why you won. So huge congrats. That must have been awesome.
Thank you. Yes, it really was. It was an amazing experience. I never take part in a contest that took so long, because normally you have like a few months and then you go on stage and then you have the results. The whole competition take about a year. So it was a crazy journey, and I'm just happy that there is some kind of competition like that, and it was really fun to join.
Well, it definitely was worth it, because you won $15,000, professional photo shoot for a magazine cover, a Cyberpunk Collector's Edition, and a kick-ass trophy. So I mean, like, look at these photos.
Yeah, that mess is
so
insane.
This is really amazing.
I have no words other than I can't believe that's really you. What is it that you're wearing? Like the sort of chest arm like material. What is that?
It's a silicone muscle suit. It is the first time that I and my boyfriend did something like that. The design of Dum Dum was not that complex in the first gameplay trailer you have seen, but after I qualified for the grand finale at Paris Games Week, we asked CDPR for more reference material, and when we get the photos, it was just like, oh my god, the whole body changed. So we were thinking about how can we get the look right, how can we attach like real metal parts or cyberware parts into my body, and we ended up with the solution to build a suit completely out of dragon skin, which is a silicone specifically made for prosthetics and silicone suits, also in movies. And yeah, we just tried
Thank
our
you guys
best.
for the
The
like.
whole body was first hand sculpted with oil-based clay by myself. While I was busy with sculpting, Luke 3D modeled the body parts, the cyberware parts, and then we printed everything, sanded it. After that, I insert the 3D printed parts in the clay, and then I need to remove them. So we have these holes to insert the parts when the silicone cast was done. So there were like a huge amount of steps you need to do to get this suit. Also, it was just a kind of expensive work because the materials are not that cheap, and we were like, oh please, when we will open the mold, it must be a success. We don't have any time to make a new one. We don't have any money to get a new one done, so we were
I
like
feel you,
shivering
boo
when
boo.
we have to
I
open
feel
the
you on
mold,
that
like,
one.
Please, it must be a success, and it was, and we were just happy, crying. So, oh my god, it worked! Really, we are so happy.
It is incredible. Sorry, Jesse, go ahead.
Oh, excuse. I'm just like really curious. You said it took a while. Like, what is the actual time this whole process took? Because I think a lot of people would love to know the actual time it takes to go this deep into creating a character.
Oh, bro, that have to take you a long time. That have to take you a long time.
I guess
That's crazy.
when I count like to make every part of the costume, I think we work for about half a year. I think maybe a bit longer, like 7-8 months, because we had so many details. We have the weapons, some of the weapons have sound effects, have light effects, have motors installed. Alone, the silicone suit sculpting take me about 3 weeks, just the sculpting.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was just crazy.
I'm so impressed, and I guess I want to ask, like, as someone who's dabbled in cosplay a little bit but could never make that, were there any techniques that you used for the first time in making Dum Dum, like things that you just had no idea how to do, that this was your first time ever attempting them, or did you generally understand how to do every piece of this when you headed into making this cosplay?
Actually, for this costume, I learned a lot of new techniques. I did a bit of sewing, but not like that much. So for me, it was quite a challenge to sew also the parts perfectly. Also, the military vest was like a difficult part, because those military jackets have like a strange feeling. They're like plastic foil in it. It's just like, it's not just fabric. It needs to be a bit more. And I ended up with sewing like a foil you used for garden ponds we have in the garage, and I was like, this is the perfect material, can I have it? And Luke's dad was like, okay, if you want it, go for it. It's perfect for the jacket. For the jacket, okay. And also, we did a lot of casting with resin before, but no casting with silicone. And also, painting silicone is like different to everything I ever did before. Also, the skin color was a challenge. I did several tests before, because just the skin tone pigment is too flat for the suit, so it will just look like a puppet or something. So I mixed several tones of blue and red and add more skin tone and more blue and more red, and still wasn't satisfied. And yeah, so yes.
You're amazing. I'm just so amazed. I'm like, you're incredible. My gosh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'm sure that 15,000 will go to making all sorts of awesome cosplay.
Yes.
To everyone else who entered, your cosplay was amazing too. Thank you so
Indeed,
much.
that is crazy.
Stunning. All of it stunning. But that is it for us today.
Bro.
Wrap this bad boy up.
Hey.
Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to Alana for leading the charge here today. Besides finding us in the world of Night City, which you can, Alana, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm at Azad on everything, which you're not going to be able to spell. It is on screen right now, but it's fine. But yeah, I work at Rooster Teeth, so I work at a comedy gaming channel called Funhouse, and also Inside Gaming, and also, you know, make content in my own time. So you can find me pretty much everywhere. How about you, Jesse Cox?
Well, you can find me at Jesse Cox everywhere. Same thing, except actually, I have a podcast, The Rooster Teeth, so technically, there you go. I mean, what do you know? Here we are, together at last.
What a coincidence, huh?
So,
two Rooster Teeth people suddenly getting us out the game.
This was
okay,
great.
okay.
I'm very excited. We are a month and 4 days away from venturing to Night City for reals, and I cannot wait for you to see what is in store for you. It is crazy.
What do you know that I don't, Jesse? What's in store for me?
I said I can't wait for you to see it. I'm not going to tell you.
Damn it.
That would,
one of these days.
Spoil the fun.
Yeah, it's bad. All right, very, very, very excited to check the game out. As you said, huge thanks to Miles and Mia for joining us. Thank you, Jess, for being an awesome co-host. Thank you to Twitch for hosting us, and make sure that you stay tuned, because I believe the weekly is coming right up. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys around.
Hey, that's pretty good. Whoa. Chat. You have more. I'll be right back, chat. I have to use the bathroom.
Oh, I am back. Sorry about that. Had to go use the bathroom. Oh man. Anyways, what we have seen so far is pretty awesome. But guys, I think we're going to end it right here. I guess they're about to talk about the panel. What's going on?
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Twitch Gaming The Weekly. I'm your host Technique and I could not do this without
Technique.
this amazing person over
Her
here.
name is Brianna.
Tell
That's my cousin name, yo.
Chat a little bit about yourself.
Frank, thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I
Is that a
am
Pizza
Story
Planet
Monday. I like
t-shirt?
to consider myself a little
Anyways.
bit of a variety streamer, meaning I stream.
Can we just turn this? All right, guys. We're going to call it it. We've been going on for a whole hour, 34 minutes. I will have some video out later talking about the lovely, lovely video that we've seen from them. And then breaking down piece by piece. So, have a good day, a good afternoon. Thank you guys for the likes. I really do appreciate it. It shows YouTube I am a decent content creator. And I really do thank you for just taking your time out just to, chill with your boy. More videos on the way. I catch you later.